Hey guys, so for July, the arch gymnastic strength workout is a circular shrugging movement. It is quite hard, quite challenging, so obviously you've got to have that kind of dead hang arch down and then going into a straight shrug and then going into a circular shrug. So if you are really tight in the lower back, be super cautious with this. You might just do a hang with just a very mild arch. These are set up a bit lower, so you would have to get them this low, you'd already have to have a decent base of flexibility through the shoulder and through the lower back. So you would set up the rings much higher to start with and just have a very mild extension. So if this is comfortable for you to be in this position, and notice I've got the knees down so it is deloaded, and then I'm quite flexible, so this is still already very hard for most people, and then you're just working on getting a shrug with it. Then you might shrug up and forward, up and back, and then the circle, and you can even add in the rotation. To make that harder, it's on the toes. Takes a lot of control through the scaps in that position. So obviously you've got to have that prereq of being able to do a straight shrug from a dead hang, and have that motor control to now bring the arch into it, which does make it a lot more challenging. And if you do have any kind of sensations where it's too much force in the back, just make it higher, there's no rush. The tissues will open up given the right loading parameters and the right lifestyle to go with it. But if you're forcing the tissues, you're just only going to aggravate areas that are already tight, or the areas that are really loose, like the lower back might be a bit looser than the thoracic, so you just end up jamming those facets, which you don't want, because inflammation and pain is only going to make everything take longer. So just work with it, use the breath nice and controlled. The back bridge, circular shrug is quite advanced. Again, these movements are advanced in the arch workout. So your basic one for that would be just working on that wrist flexibility, getting those hips up. So you might be just at that, and that's where you're at, you're working on that. Once you can do that, you might even do a bit of a shoulder roll in between each rep, just to get that scap awareness. And then you're working on rolling up onto the head, back down to the shoulder blades. And you can keep the pressure on the head the whole time, so you're not trying to lift off. That way it kind of deloads the wrist. But remember, if you've got any neck condition, you don't want to be forcing it into that position or putting too much pressure in there. And this will be fine, this will get you there over time, especially with the wrist flexibility. Once that neck settles down, you get stronger from all the other training. So you do not need to rush. Start a bit wider, then you work towards a closer position. And then once you can do that, you can get up onto the head, then you can do a lift off. You might find that's your range. Once you can get up higher, you can come up, then you can start to come forward into it, bring your feet closer together. And in this position here, you want to work on straight shrugs. You might find it easier to get the heels off, so you get the hips a bit higher. Shrug like that, and shrugging up and forward, up and back, and then the circular shrug. It is a bit disorientating because you're upside down, and it's at that end range, it's quite hard, quite challenging. These aren't easy movements, but they're all something to work towards. For me, like, I still got heaps of room to bring my hands closer together, drive my hips further forward, open up that thoracic even more and get more motor control through there and strength and neck stability in that position. I just take my time. I'm limited by my neck as to how heavy I can load those type of positions, and I'm always really safe with it. I never want to kind of have my neck tighten up by forcing it too much. I have in the past. So just go easy with it. Ideally you don't talk while you do it. Keep that tongue on the roof of the mouth and really let those tissues get strong there. The squat arch. So you're going into a deep squat. Remember, if your knees don't like doing this, don't force it, just coming up. And you might just do a version where you're just kind of getting up onto those and coming back. And just working that sissy, deloading your knees a little bit with the hands like that, or holding on to something. I've got the rings here, so I can hold on to it like that. And then from there, I'm standing underneath the bar or where the anchor point is in that deep squat, just loaded, so I'm not resting on my heels, and then I'm going to come back into that squat. So I'm using that sissy, just enough help from the rings. Coming back. So going into that is quite heavy, those 3 in a row for an arch, so you want to try and balance the spine. So 3 arches in a row. I'm going to do a nice child's pose position there, open up that lower back the opposite way. Breathe and relax. I can even load my wrists the opposite way based on doing those back arches. Counterbalance those. And then go into the next set. Just make sure you warm up each set and just do whatever's right for you on a day. Some days if you feel any niggles at all, you know, you're better off just doing the easiest version and just using that to open up other areas and really be aware in your different body positions. You don't have to force the extremes. Definitely not all the time, and definitely not if you have any niggles. So take your time, enjoy it, and enjoy the feeling of your body getting stronger gradually and more flexible and more adaptable to these positions. Cool.